Hey, Fresno Sports Talk, Brian Rivera here. I'm joined by Fresno Grizzlies catcher Kody Huff. Kody, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
Simple question I ask everybody: how'd you get your start in baseball?
Yeah, so I've been playing baseball since I was about 4 years old, 5 years old. Started with t-ball. I had a dad who's been a scout for over 20 years. Two uncles who played college baseball, one who played professionally after that. So I've been involved in a lot of baseball ever since I can remember.
Yeah, you got the two uncles. You got the aunt that did volleyball too at college. So
yeah, she played multiple sports in college.
Yeah. So, and then high school in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Senior year, state champ, Rolling Gold Glove, Max Prep All-American, State Player of the Year, and then drafted in the 32nd round to the Tampa Rays.
Yeah.
Pretty cool year.
Yeah, it was an awesome year for sure. I accomplished, the goals that I set out for. I wanted to be a state champ that year, and winning player of the year was obviously the cherry on top. And I'm really glad I got to, have a state championship at the end of my career.
Yeah, and then you chose Stanford to continue your career.
Yeah.
And what was going on? Just Stanford was.
Yeah. So when the Stanford coaches reached out to me, it just seemed like an opportunity I couldn't pass up. I was always an academic guy in high school. My school was really important to me. Stanford just seemed like the best place I could go to get the best for school, for academics, or same thing.
Yeah.
School, for sports, for weather, proximity to home. My parents used to watch me play quite often, so yeah, it was the best of both worlds.
Did you have any other schools looking at you?
Yeah. I had some other Pac-12 schools, a few ACC as well.
Okay, Arizona in the mix. Arizona State?
Yeah, they both were. My brother's actually, he was a freshman this year playing at University of Arizona. Yeah.
Right on. So at Stanford, you started 125 of your 130 games there at catcher, right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Batted 284. You had 33 doubles, 18 home runs, 88 RBIs in just over a couple years of starting. That's pretty good seasons.
Yeah, not too bad. My sophomore year was definitely a little up and down, and then I had a really good year last year, my draft year, so that definitely helped.
Right, and then of course also last year, your draft year, you had Pac-12 championship, first team all-conference. Again, you talk about academics, you're on a roll there as well. So you had some pretty good cherries to hang your hat on.
Yeah. I really enjoyed my time there. Thankful for my 3 years that I got to have there, and always grateful for.
And then from that 2022 draft, you had 6 players from Stanford drafted, including for us Fresno people and our local people, Brock Jones. You played with Brock. He's got obviously drafted high. He's pretty good talent. But you talked to his parents much while you were here?
Yeah. I've actually gone over to their house a few times, kept in touch with Brock. We were roommates back at Stanford, so I know him and his family quite well. So
nice.
Yeah, that's been really nice to have some familiar faces around.
Sure. And then 2022, you were drafted in the 7th round, number 206, by Colorado here. Did you have any idea that they were going to draft you?
The draft is very fickle. You never really know what's going to happen. I definitely had some teams that I knew were more interested in me than others, and Colorado was one of them. So I think it was a familiar sight to have them let me know that they were going to take me, and I was really excited when I got that call.
Sure. Now here in Fresno, you've started 42 games at catcher out of the 47 played. Right? You're batting 250. You got 6 doubles, a couple home runs, 22 RBIs. But I think it was a pretty cool stat is you've thrown out 20% of the runners trying to steal on you. Are you kind of known for your arm as well as your hitting?
I would say I have to give credit to Dustin Garneau, and Jerry Weinstein, and a lot of the guys in the Rockies organization for helping me out a ton with my defense this year. The throwing, the receiving, all that stuff. I've always had a good arm as an amateur. I used to pitch, play shortstop, infield, so I always did have a great arm, but I always struggled with accuracy a little bit from behind the plate. And so, I've been working hard on trying to be more accurate.
So you said you did a little bit of pitching, a little shortstop. What made you choose catcher?
It wasn't necessarily all my choice. I'm not the most fleet of foot.
Oh, come on, you laid down a triple the other day.
That's true. I just kind of figured that catching was probably where my future was going to be professionally, and so it's just something I started focusing more on in college. And when I got Stanford, like for the first little bit, I still, did a little bit of infield, a little bit of outfield, but they had me just catching, and then I just started with it from there.
Sure. And then talking about catching now, the catching styles. Of course, I was a catcher growing up. Played through a little bit through high school, and we just normally was just in this normal squat position.
Yeah.
But I know now through the sabermetrics and stuff, you guys are a lot on one knee, a little bit lower. What's that all about? What's that just have to do with?
Yeah, so even up until last year, I was a traditional stance guy too. I actually just switched to spring training this year full time to one knee, and the reasoning behind it was we kind of sat down and looked at the numbers, looked at the research a little bit, and looked at my own numbers, and kind of realized that there was a lot of room for improvement, and one of those ways to improve was kind of just freeing up my glove a little more, and so I started catching with my left knee down only. And what that really did was, free up my mental, free up my body a little bit, and just the stats showed that, you could still throw out a similar percentage of runners, you could still block the same amount of balls, but it really helped the receiving aspect.
And I'm sure from the traditional squat position, going down to the left, your left leg down, having to block balls in the dirt, that was a little bit of an adjustment to me?
Yeah, for sure. It was an adjustment at first, just because there's, just like hitting, there's a rhythm and timing to every pitch and everything you're doing as a catcher, and so, yeah, it definitely took some adjusting and a lot of practice to kind of get comfortable with it.
And then I noticed through the year here that there's 15 players that were drafted by the Rockies in 2022, and they're all on this team here in Fresno. As the season progresses here, as we start the second half, do you think that's going to be a benefit for you guys as the season gets longer, or maybe into playoffs, that you guys have all been together for a couple of years?
Yeah, I'd say the kind of unique thing that I've noticed about this team is we have a large number of guys that are still together from the draft. I know, looking at some other different organizations, a lot of that draft class starts to split up pretty early. Guys kind of go their own path. So it's been cool to stay in touch with our draft class, and I think a lot of guys are starting to get close. And a ton of us are college guys too, so we come from similar backgrounds and kind of can relate in that aspect. And so, yeah, I think that's going to help us a ton coming down the stretch.
I think that Stanford, I was looking at the bio the other day, and you've got aeronautical engineer, front office exec, or fishing guide after baseball. Those are three pretty well spread out opportunities.
Yeah, I would say that's just kind of how my personality is a little bit. I like to know a little bit about a lot. My degree is Stanford's Management Science and Engineering, and then I love to fish in my free time. I'm also, I've been around baseball for lots of years, so I'd love to stay in it afterwards. And so those just kind of, cover a few of my hobbies.
Yeah, perfect. Well, Kody, thanks for the time, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, perfect.